All right, let's call to order our Board of County Commissioners meeting for Wednesday, May 12th, 2021.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Present.
Commissioner Harris?
Present.
Chair Waitmeyer?
Present.
Vice Chair Dickinson?
Present.
Commissioner Dunn?
Present.
All right, let's have Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, looks like we have Pastor Dakota Smith of the Ottawa Bible Church on the line. Go ahead, sir.
How's it going, guys? Thank you so much for the continued opportunity. Hey, I just want to begin with about 30 seconds of a brief devotional this morning from the book of Proverbs about the tongue. It says, "The soothing tongue is a tree of life, but a perverse tongue crushes the spirit. Also, those who guard their tongues keep themselves from calamity." Another verse says, "Without wood, a fire goes out. Likewise, without a gossip, a quarrel dies down." And the last verse is this: "The one who has knowledge uses words with restraint, and whoever has understanding is even-tempered. Even fools are thought wise if they keep silent, and discerning if they hold their tongues." You know, the Bible says that every word we speak is going to be held in account one day, and we believe that Jesus delivers us from the errors of our tongue because he loves us. And I just wanted to say this in practicality for this meeting. I thank the Franklin County Commissioners for always speaking well, for speaking in love, and for holding a sense of professionalism in your meetings. I just want to thank you for this opportunity and conclude with prayer. Father, I just thank you for the team that's assembled here in our county. I thank you so much for their hard work and for their efforts. I ask you, God, that you would give them wisdom to best serve our town and to love one another and to continue to lead us properly. Lord, please give them guidance and strengthen them for all that they need. Thank you for this day. Thank you for this meeting. And Jesus, thank you for your love. In your name we pray. Amen. Thank you, guys.
All right, very kind. Thank you, sir. I have nothing listed under correspondence and organizational business. Do you have any public comment? All right, our consent agenda today includes our May 5th meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda. Second.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Yeah.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Chair Waitmeyer?
Yes. Our first item of business is to purchase tires for the Public Works Departments, bids 1, 3, and 4 to Pomps Tire, and bid number 2 is to Heartland Tire. Any questions for David Lee, Public Works Director, regarding the purchase tires? Pretty straightforward. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve those purchases?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Yeah.
Chair Waitmeyer?
Yes. Second item of business is to consider renewing a voice services agreement for our Information Technology Department. Morning,
Good morning,
Dustin.
Commissioners. As we have in the past, every now and then we have contract renewals, and this is our primary phone service coming to the county. Not a whole lot that I could say about this other than you can see from the cover sheet that we're reducing our cost by a little over $700 a month. It's going to reduce us from $1,546 down to $795 with a few fees on top of that. So this will be a 2-year term contract. Last time we did renew this was in 2018, and I'd submit it for your consideration.
Sounds like a good deal.
Yeah, why wouldn't we?
It's primarily due to change of the technology and the time. We're going from a copper connection over to a fiber connection. Part of that's being driven from AT&T's infrastructure. This also is just a good timing for us. We're 1 year out of whenever our previous had expired, and we hadn't seen the increases that we'd seen in years past. So it's just the right time for both sides of the connection here.
Good deal. Would anyone like to make a motion to accept the contract for the AT&T dedicated internet and voice bundle agreement?
Motion approved. Second.
Commissioner Dickinson?
Yes.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yes.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Chair Waitmeyer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dustin.
Yes.
Evidently not any problem going with the phone service. I know years past there's always been some problems and stuff, but I haven't heard anything for years, so everything must be doing pretty good as far as, you know.
By and large, it's fairly stable. The system itself has rarely had any issues. We have had a few issues with individual lines. This is a primary trunk that's providing essentially 46 lines to us. We haven't had any issues with it. Couple times we've had issues with some call quality, but that's been resolved fairly quickly. As far as a complete outage or anything like that, hasn't really been too much of that other than maintenance windows where we had to shut down power to the entire system.
Thank you.
For our third item of business, we'll be discussing the Visitor Center, hours of operation and reopening. Casey Brady, our Tourism Director.
Okay. Dr. Ransom gave us the go-ahead to get the travel center reopened. So I told you I would come back with a recommendation of what exactly that could look like for the time being. The travel center is a community-owned and operated travel center, and to remain in good standing with the state, we can operate under one of three designations. So what we were before COVID operating as a level 1 designated center, that was a regional travel center, and our days open had to be 5 days per week, including a Saturday or Sunday, for 6 hours per day. There has to be a paid staff member on site during all business hours. And then the benefits of that is the state provides the blue highway sign on I-35. We're listed as a regional travel center. We get some promotional opportunities, and then they do provided training to some of the volunteers and or the paid staff member, et cetera. So another option is a level 2 center, which becomes then a locally designated center. Days of operation are 4 days a week, still has to include a Saturday or Sunday, operating 6 hours each of those 4 days, and staffing can be either a paid staff or volunteer staff. We lose the blue highway sign on I-35, but that's really the biggest thing that is lost as far as benefits go, and we're listed as local versus regional on the state travel website. Option 3, or level 3 center, is just a 24-hour kiosk, a 24/7 kiosk. When I think of a kiosk, that's like, digital, but they don't even mean that. Just brochures have to be available outside 24/7, and that's something as a level 1 or a level 2 center we're supposed to have available 24/7 anyways. It's out on the porch of the visitor center, and I have tried to keep it as stocked as possible throughout COVID. So that's still there. But my recommendation moving forward is that we reopen as a level 2 center, allowing the visitor center to be staffed by volunteers and cut down our operations to only 4 days a week. My recommendation would be days Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Monday, as I believe just by past numbers, Sunday wasn't a very busy travel day, but Monday being the day after the weekend, they saw more people on Mondays. So questions, thoughts, it's really a discussion more than anything.
Just because we go to level 2 don't mean they're going to go out and remove a sign.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
They're not going to go out there and remove that sign.
Right.
They're
So,
not.
And even if they did, we'd have to get the permission from the state to put up our own sign?
I'm not sure that we could put something on the highway
Yeah.
because that's KDOT.
Yeah, I think you're correct.
But yes. I know I've gotten lots of questions about the visitor center sign. I don't know if you're aware, but right before COVID hit, it actually blew down. The wood had rotted, the wood posts had rotted, so the sign that was out in front of the visitor center. Brandon is exploring to see what's the best option for that sign, because no matter what our designation is, we do have to have a sign out in front of the center. So we are getting that replaced, whether it gets, we're just making that sign, bringing it back up to speed, or getting a new sign, but that will be put
You
back
have
out.
two volunteers at a time?
No, they have typically ran the place with only one volunteer.
You would have one person in there all by themselves.
That is something we were gonna discuss tomorrow morning. I told you last time, I've had several discussions with Lucille Spencer, and that was my first question for her. How do you feel that volunteers would feel being there by themselves? And she's like, well, we always were on the weekends. I don't think it's an issue, so. That was her feedback, but I do plan to ask that question tomorrow of the volunteers.
Yeah, I'd love to see 2 people in there at a time, just for, just 4.
And
Yeah.
we had this same discussion when we were talking about sponsorships. This is just a recommendation. This is ultimately a decision that the 5 of you need to make. Having said that, this recommendation is based on feedback that we feel we've received from the 5 of you. I don't think that there was a desire to shut the center down entirely, yet some of the feedback we received was that the existing model isn't really sustainable either, given the relative lack of people that show up to that place. And so the benefit for us is we don't pay somebody, a paid staff member, to sit out there all day. We can continue to use our robust group of volunteers and do it that way. And the other thing that keep in mind, we are also discussing a framework where the Historical Society ends up in the same building. And so the volunteers in that case, they wouldn't be by themselves. I mean, they might be for a period of time until that, if that transition happens, until it happens, but we could look at frameworks where we keep a couple of them out there until that were to happen.
Would you kind of have some people that were like leaders, so people that could recruit new ones and train? And then somebody to call in case I'm sick, I can't go today, I need somebody to fill in for me or something like that?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, we believe that Casey and Amy Hodo, the county's administrative assistant, we believe we can easily manage and schedule the volunteers. And we don't anticipate that being an issue at all. And part of the reason for our meeting tomorrow is to make introductions. A lot of them know Casey, very few of them know Amy, but just to start building that rapport there. But we don't anticipate any issues on the scheduling end.
So have you already had a meeting?
No, it's tomorrow morning at
tomorrow.
9 a.m. at the visitor center, so I
Be
encourage.
interesting to find out how many are still interested in being
Yeah,
volunteers.
I believe I have 12 that have RSVP'd
that's
to be
good.
there tomorrow, so.
Sounds like a great plan, recommendation to me. Anyone?
Would you give everybody a key then? Everybody would have a key?
No, we've talked about actually, and I haven't talked to Brandon about this, but I've talked to Derek about this, just on one of the back doors, putting like a keypad lock. So they just have a code for the time being, so that way they can get in. I plan to stop by, several times, but I wouldn't want to be out there to open and close it every day for
Yeah, yeah.
them.
I like your idea of the recommendation. And I'd like to put a motion forward that we move forward with that recommendation on your level 2.
Right.
I'll second it.
Commissioner Dunn?
Yeah, I think this is the best of both worlds, so, yes.
Commissioner Stottlemyre?
Yes.
Commissioner Harris?
Yes.
Commissioner Dickinson?
Yeah.
Chair Waymire?
Yes.
Thank you.
One last question. Is there
Yeah.
a phone out there, or
There is.
so they wouldn't have to have a cell phone to be able
Nope.
to reach?
Nope, there's a
No,
phone
it's
line
right on
out
the
there.
highway, so the police
Right.
are and the sheriff's department are by there a lot. so,
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, there's a phone out there, so. Okay, thank you.
All right, down to staff reports now. Derek?
Yeah, so over the last couple days, Janet and I have held budget meetings with the department heads and elected officials. I think we've gotten through all of them except 2. But those meetings have went, by and large, very well. I think the department heads and elected officials thus far have done a great job through this process. I'm pleased with the individual budgets that we've seen. And so we will keep refining those. We still have a fair bit of work to do with some of the employee salary and benefit related numbers. Benefits are, in particular, are a tricky thing to budget, but we'll keep refining that. We're aiming to have a draft budget to you all somewhere around the first part of June, and then the middle part of June, around the 14th, 15th, we'll have our budget meetings where I think our intention is to this year go back to what we've done more historically and all meet here in this room and bring each department head, each elected official in, and just give you all the opportunity to go through those budgets line by line. And then once we've gotten feedback from that process from all of you, then we'll start putting the final budgets together. And Janet could discuss this in more detail if need be, but with the new legislation, our budget is extended into September this year. So we historically wrap it up within those first couple weeks of August. I think we're looking at about the first couple weeks of September now, but for her and I don't know that we anticipate any issues in that regard. And so, but yeah, you can look to have a rough draft here within the next 2.5 weeks, probably. Countywide software, we've discussed that several times. Got a group, and Dustin's doing a great job of, he's been quarterbacking this, but a group of us have been meeting weekly. Just right now, we're putting wish lists together. So it's something that in some ways touches most of our departments, but certainly when you think of like Jody's office and taxation software, and Janet's office with finance software, payroll software, asset management, we've got a team of 7 or 8 folks that's getting together to really talk through what is it that the organization needs. And those discussions are going well, and so we're moving through that, and we'll meet again tomorrow. And that's, Colt, that's all I have, unless you have questions.
I saw yesterday or the day before, they came down with the initial information as far as what we can spend, yeah. And the amount that Franklin County is going to get is a little under $5 million.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. That has come out in the last couple days. Because we've been in budget meetings, I have not fully digested that yet. But yes, the Treasury has released their guidance, so we will have a very good idea of what we can spend it on. Again, this is different from the CARES Act in that we've got time. CARES Act, we had to go because we had a few months, whereas here, I think we've got a few years. And so one of the things you're going to hear me say a lot is, I think patience is going to be a virtue in this instance, because we believe there are going to be ancillary pieces of legislation that come out that provide more funding opportunities, and I don't want to get us locked into a course of action with these funds only to learn that a second stimulus is coming that maybe would have been a better use for our original plan. So we'll want to exercise patience, but again, Janet and I are absolutely on top of that. I know she's done the work that needs to be done with a portal, and we'll be ready to go, but that's something that I'll definitely encourage the board to take our time with so that we make thoughtful recommendations and try to take the whole community into consideration. So, thank you.
Great. Well, Derek, the only thing I add is we got the email on the luncheon coming up with the city.
Yes.
And they wanted an answer
Yes.
by Friday. And I'll give my answer, yes, I'll be there.
Okay.
I don't know if the rest of the
Okay.
crew wants to.
Well, yeah.
answer now or not.
Yeah, and you give your answer now, absolutely, or just respond to Amy's email. Yeah,
Right.
however you would rather do it.
All right.
Thank you.
Casey, you have anything for us?
I don't have anything else. I would just encourage you all, if you have a chance to run out tomorrow morning and say hi at 9 a.m.
All right. Morning, Sheriff, anything?
Good morning. This is National Peace Officer Week, and so I just had a couple things that I wanted to talk about of that. In 2020, there were 362 line of duty deaths across the country. That's the second highest since they've been keeping those records, the highest number being just a couple more than that back in the 1930s. COVID did have quite a bit to do with that as well, and but we are on a pace this year that will outpace last year. We are unfortunately ahead of where we were last year at this time. So far in 2021, there have been 124 line of duty deaths. And the primary areas where we track those are gunfire, auto-related crashes, and then others, and every category has increased. So that you are all aware that what we are doing in the sheriff's office to combat this, we are part of a group that's called Below 100. We send our people to that training with the goal of having fewer than 100 line of duty deaths across the country. It talks about everything from your driving safety to fitness and diet, so that you don't have a heart attack on duty while you're in a fight or something like that. So we are doing those type of things. There's also been an increase across the country in ambushes, where people are called to, whether it's a legitimate call or not, but they are doing that to lure law enforcement there, and then a sniper or someone will start shooting at them. We've had several deaths that way. We in-house, we had a couple people develop a counter ambush training, and we've sent all of our staff through that training. And so we are doing what we can to do our part to keep those numbers down, and hopefully those things will pay off, and we can get those numbers down. Along those lines, we have had one sheriff deputy from Franklin County that lost his life in the line of duty. That was Sam Smith. And we do award scholarships every year in his honor to remember how he lived his life. And I may have mentioned before, but we awarded 2 of those out at West Franklin High School to Virginia Wright and Nevaeh Scott. And then later on this month, there was Aaron Campbell will receive that scholarship as well at Ottawa High School. So it's important to us that we keep the memory of Sam alive for how he lived his life and his dedication to public service. And so that's part of what that scholarship is there for. And we had the honor of escorting Katie last week up to Johnson County for the Ride for the Fallen, the bicycle ride for law enforcement, and Commissioner Dickinson was there to be a part of that, and we got to honor Katie and Sam's memory during that ride, and then later that evening when they arrived in Topeka, Katie was also there for that. So those are just some of the things that we have done so far, but I wanted to also highlight that we have a canine that is retiring from service today. And we will have a retirement ceremony for Canine Quanto at 1 o'clock today over in the Sam Smith Memorial Training Center. And so it's kind of a bittersweet thing when you have a dog that you've had around for that long and worked with, and to see them, kind of go on. But our goal is that, and our focus is the fact that we remember that canine is not just a regular piece of equipment that you use until it just is worn out and gets thrown away. In consultation with our veterinarians and then the associations that certify the dogs, they kind of let us know when they're at the end of their working life, so that they can go on and kind of live a regular life. But that the work would not be good for them anymore. And so that's kind of where we landed with Quanto. And so that's the purpose of that. He is already replaced, and we have Duke out on the road already. He's already certified and out on the road. So that's all I have, unless you guys have questions for me.
What's the name of the new dog?
Duke,
Duke?
yes. Also a German Shepherd, pretty big dog and strong. He'll probably be around today if any of you guys are over.
Who's his
over at the
handler?
office. It's Tanner Hendrickson.
Still
Is-
Tanner?
Yeah, Tanner is handling the new dog as well. So,
Appreciate the update.
yes, sir.
Nick?
Good morning.
Good morning.
As Sheriff Richards mentioned, it's Peace Officer Week. Dispatch has been recognizing corrections, peace officers, fire, EMS next week by doing goodie baskets, and then over the radio doing recognition pages that talks about each one of the departments. So we have been working to recognize each one of those and the hard work they do. As far as COVID, it's continuing to be more and more of a sort of fun things to talk about, which is a good thing. Right now, we have 5 new reported cases since last Wednesday. We got 8 total active at this time. We've seen a drastic decrease in testing. We're testing maybe 5 or 6 every week that are not related to OU for their schools. OU softball and baseball have made it on to postseason play, so we are continuing to work with them. But other than that, for general public, we're seeing 5 or 6 tests a day. News that is coming out is Pfizer has got a emergency authorization for 12 and up. So we're in the process of talking about what we're going to do with that, because they've also stated that Pfizer no longer needs to be kept in an ultra cold environment, and the freezers we have in the health department can support it. So we have had conversations of if we're going to embark in that. One of the things, it kind of came a little late in the school year to reach out to the schools and try to do vaccine clinics there, because it's a 2-dose shot. So we would need to see those students again in 3 weeks, and that's where there won't be any school going on. So we're still looking at that and trying to figure out how we're going to handle it. Other than that, wrapping up at the Bottle House this week. We have QLIS going. We're seeing people sign up that way. Not seeing a lot of excitement on that to get the vaccine, but there's a lot of places to get it. But we do have 2 days a week that we're offering. One day's at Johnson & Johnson, the other day's at Moderna. And as we talk through this, we may have a Pfizer day. Other than that, do you have any questions for me?
How many shots are in a Pfizer vial? I thought that was like 75. Is that correct?
Johnson, say that one more
How
time.
many once you open it, how many are in there?
There's
Pfizer?
10 in the Moderna, and there's 5 in the Pfizer.
Oh, just 5. I thought it was
Yep,
75.
and Johnson
Okay.
& Johnson has 5 as well.
All right, that'd be
And
better.
Moderna's still discussing wanting to go to a 15-dose vial, which I'm hoping they don't, but
Yeah.
any question? Thank you.
Appreciate the update.
What's that?
Appreciate the update. Thank you. All right. David Lee, Public Works.
Okay, so last Wednesday, I got a call from somebody with KDHE related to the oil spill up in the Wellsville area. They wanted to thank us and our staff for being proactive in reaching out to them and providing information. They were able to identify the company that placed the oil there, and KDHE is working with that particular entity to make sure that the site is cleaned up properly. We shouldn't expect any long-lasting effects of that, so that is taken care of. Dust control is complete also. We're able to finish that Monday afternoon. Dust control is always, we rush around to prepare all the sites. So it's a long month for us to get prepared for it. And then we, spend up to a week sometimes working with the applicator to make sure that they get to the right locations and that they put it down in the proper spots and those sorts of things. So we're happy that that is done so that we can move on to other things. Also, our new skid loader arrived yesterday. They've got stickers on it and are getting ready to put that into service, so that'll be a great addition. And then we have placed the orders for the sign truck and the 2 service trucks as well. So in addition to the motor graders also. So all of those things are in the works. Let's see, next week you should see on the agenda an agreement for the Osborne Terrace Bridge, the standard KDOT agreement that they have us sign on all of the projects. That'll be coming before you, along with interlocal agreement for the Regional Solid Waste Authority. We made some updates to that agreement, and it needs commissioner authorization. I'm also very, very close on being ready to present the list of projects that we have discussed in the past with some analysis and some rough cost estimates along with that. I'm also very, very close on the conceptual site plan for the Public Works Yard. I've got the drawings prepared. I'm putting the narrative together now, and we'll be running that by Derek here hopefully this week. And so either next week or the following week, all of that will be coming for you. Happy to answer any questions that you may have.
David, the asphalt work there on Marshall and Montana, I've got compliments on that work. Only question I have is it going to be striped pretty soon?
Yeah, well, we will do the striping whenever the striping crew comes in for the chip seal project. We will talk to them about handling that at that same time. And so in the meantime, we'll utilize the reflectors that that Kilo put down as a part of the paving job.
Okay.
So, and the chip seal project, I should tell you, is slated to start here in early June on, just like they told us it was going to. They should be starting to deliver. They've got 4 different locations where they're going to stockpile material. We've heard from them, and we should start seeing that material showing up at those sites here anytime.
All right. Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Commissioners, the election for the USD 289 school district is next Wednesday, and so we need to talk about a canvas date for that election. We had it on the calendar based on timelines, election timelines as Tuesday, the 25th, but we can do that pretty much any time that week. So we were thinking about possibly being down here and ready to do it immediately following your Wednesday meeting on the 26th, if that works for all of you guys to stay just a little bit later and canvass the election. That way we didn't have to have a separate meeting. Are you guys all okay with that?
Wednesday, the 26th works for me.
Sounds good.
I have to look, because we're flying out that day, so I wasn't going to hang around, but it might. I'll have to look.
Okay, can you let me know as soon as possible so we can
that.
schedule a different meeting? I would normally do it, we would normally do it on a Monday, but because the election is on a Wednesday, then that adds an extra day to the
How long do you
timeline.
think it's going to last?
And you don't have a study session. Betsy and I talked about it yesterday, and we really don't think that it could possibly last more than 15 minutes. So, we'll have one polling location, advanced ballots and early ballots, and that's it. And generally, we would have 16 polling locations and lots of voters, so I don't really anticipate that this time. The only thing additional, other than one polling location, would be we would probably give you the breakdown like by county, so, because we do have 4 counties that are involved in this. So, but that will just be one more.
It should probably work. I
Okay,
don't fly out till 2.
okay, perfect. Okay, we'll plan for that then. Rodney, our auditor, is in the office and is working on getting all of our stuff done. That's something that really hinges on the budget. We really need those audited numbers before we can make good estimates to you guys and come back with some hard numbers that work in our budget, and we bring a solid product to you guys. As Derek said, the timeline did get pushed back this year, and so our budget hearing, instead of being generally in the first week of August, this year will need to be between August 20th and September 20th. So we have added about a month, at least a month to that. So, and we can't do it any earlier than that because of Senate Bill 13's timeline. So we'll be talking to you guys about what date in there works for you. I would assume we'll do an evening meeting again. So one final thing, the Kansas County Commissioners Association is having their meeting. Ian has already said that she's planning to go to that. So Amy went ahead and booked hotel rooms for everybody. We'll cancel whoever doesn't want to go, but I think that you'll need one, Ian. Do you need one the day before, or do you just want to arrive?
I think it starts like at 5 o'clock, so I won't need one the day before.
Okay. I also need to get anyone registered that wants to go to that. So if anyone other than Ian is wanting to go to that, if you could let me know by Friday so I can get people registered and get rooms canceled for those of you that don't want to
And
go.
I'll let Amy know I'll need a van. A van?
I can let her know that you need the van. Okay.
All right, thank you. Commissioners' comments, board reports, Don?
Yeah, main reason why I'm not going to go, because we have an important meeting June the 9th, and I don't want to miss that with Wellsville, with Derek and I going up there to meet with them and Paul Bean. And I feel that's a pretty important thing for me to have to go to, so that's my intentions on that one. I haven't had much for meeting-wise. I have been working with the solid waste coordinators last week or two, and I signed off on a couple of grants last week, that being the chairman of the management committee there, and I think we have 3 more that we're signing off on, and that's probably more grants than we've applied for in umpteen years since the organization, since the state. I think our new coordinator is really pushing to venture out there, and some of them aren't big, some of them are local. A lot of our old grants used to be from each one of the solid waste management areas, like our recycling. Now she's venturing out more those, but also going out, reaching out to schools and cities and so forth, trying to promote the recycling, which that's always been a big, we've told those people for years that's what we really want them to do, but this is the first one that's really approached that and tried to do that. So that's about all I have.
Rod?
Yeah, last Thursday night, we had a meeting with the Historical Society. It was Colt, Derek, and Casey, and myself. Also, I believe the meeting, I thought, went real well, and they're going to get their needs and wants and come back and have a meeting with us, like at a planning session meeting. Also, at the coffee downtown last week with the chamber was kind of interesting. We was at Luigi's, and sounds like they got a deal that they're putting together on their own with other businesses, and it's not, doesn't have to be a chamber member to get involved in this. It's just a group they're putting together. It's the same day savings, and if you go and eat somewhere and you go another place with this group, and we'll have to get a list of that group, you can get like a 10% discount on whatever you do with the next business. So it sounds like a interesting deal. So that's it.
That's interesting. All right, Ian?
Last Thursday, I was the guest on the Franklin County radio spot. And just for the public, if you want to know what's going on in the county, every Thursday at 8:10 on COFO. And it's not just the commissioners. It could be a department head. It could be COVID update. It could be anything. So it's just a great opportunity to kind of keep track of what's going on in the county. I did take some goodies to the jail for National Corrections Officers Week last week. And I was very privileged to be able to attend the Ride for the Fallen there at the Johnson County Sheriff's Department. It was basically, I think, 75 bikers, and each one of them had a picture of a fallen officer on the back of their bike with a police and sheriff's motorcycle escort. It was very impressive. It was really an awesome sight to see them. Although the next leg, they said, was like 17 miles, and if you've ever been in that part of the county, it's a lot of this. So some of them opted to wait for the last one, but it was very cool. And to have Sheriff's brother be the one to honor Sam Smith, that was very cool. The city had a couple of meetings in the last week. They had their new financial officer finally, after a couple of years, and she actually started this week. I believe she's from Gardner. And one of the things that they did note was, and just FYI for the public, that they are going to be working on the bridge, the K-68 bridge over there by the park, and that work is going to last until into the fall, probably. So it'll be down to one lane. You can still go over it, but it'll be down to one lane. So if you're traveling that way, just be prepared. The last thing is, I guess, my husband and I are going to go see his father, who is 90, and his stepfather, who's 88. Neither one of them have had a vaccine. If we would not be vaccinated, we would not be going. So another reason to, if you have not got your vaccine, get your vaccine. If not for your elderly parents, for your kids, who none of them under the age of 16 at this point can get vaccinated. So I guess I don't understand people who are still dragging their feet. It's so available, and it can just really get us to a better place. Hopefully, you know, that they keep talking herd immunity. We aren't there yet, and we'd really like to be. So if you're still dragging your feet, get out there, get some information. Let's try to get there. And that's it for me.
Roy?
Yeah, I just want to mention that former County Commissioner David Hood passed away last week. He served from 2008 to 2012 as a county commissioner, and I just want to send our condolences to his family and thank him for his work when he was on the commission.
All right. Didn't seem like that long ago, but looks like we have a need to enter into executive session to discuss a legally privileged matter pursuant to the COMA exception allowing for consultation between the Board of Commissioners and our county counselor. This would include the board and the counselor for a period of how long do you think?
15 minutes.
All right, 15 minutes. Anyone care to make a motion to go into executive session for said?
I'll make that motion.
All right. Second? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Time's 9:12, so you expect us out at 9:27. All right. Back out of our executive session, no actions taken, no decisions made. And then this concludes our meeting. If we can get a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Hi.
Aye. Any opposed? Then we're adjourned. Thank